Hello, and welcome to Bizniversity LiveBizTV show on this wonderful Friday, December the 3rd. And we are just a few days away from the beginning of the new year 2022. And today I am excited to be able to and come back and share with you a few new people that I would like to introduce to you, as well as new topics and titles for some of the trainings that we've been talking about via YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. And today I have a very special guest that I'll bring up in just a little bit. But I want to make sure that if you are joining us live, that you introduce yourself right there in the chat. Tell us your name, your company name. Tell us a little bit about your business, what you're doing now at the end of the year as you're getting ready to prepare for the new year 2022. And of course, we'd love for you to invite some friends. So go ahead and share this video with friends. If you're watching on the replay, we want to thank you for watching. We ask that you stay with us all the way till the end, because today I am giving away some goodies. Therefore, I want to make sure that you stay with us all the way to the end so that you have an opportunity to win some of the goodies that I'll be sharing with you today. So if this is your first time ever being with us, let me formally introduce myself. I am now Evie Diaz, and I am a strategic growth speaker at Bizniversity.com. And I had been in hiatus just for a little bit because I was getting married and then I had a honeymoon. And so I am just getting back, and this is our very first Bizniversity LiveBizTV show since I became Evie Diaz. So if this is your first time, please let us know in the chat. This is your first time. And if you're listening on the replay, please let us know then too, because we love to hear from you. And now, without any further delay, I would like to introduce to you someone that I recently met through an awesome organization called the Women Speakers Association. And let me go ahead and bring her in. Hello and good morning or good evening. I'm not sure your time zone, but hello and thank you for being here.
Hi, Evie. Good to be here with all of you today. Excited.
I'm excited that you're here, and I am grateful that you're here. So why don't we begin by you first telling us a little bit about you, what you do, who you help, and how you help.
That sounds great. Thank you. So my name is Michela Quilici. I'm an international business growth coach. I'm an award-winning marketing strategist. I'm also Amazon bestselling author and speaker. I am actually a Forbes coach as well, and also a global operations and training director at Women Speakers Association. So through the Speakers Association, I run a program called Global Business Connector Program, which is really to support women with a message, speakers, authors who want to leverage the brand, 10-year-old brand, members in 120 countries, the #1 visibility platform for women with a message, to really leverage that platform to grow their local community, to get more visibility, and to make more of an impact with their message. So that's what I do on that side with WSA. In my own core business, I work primarily with CEOs and business owners. I call myself a business navigator because really that's what I do. I support leaders who want to grow, get traction, and accelerate their business growth to create more predictability in their business, profitability, and scalability in any economy. So I create roadmaps that inspire business leaders to take action through better strategy, systems, leadership. It's really about working smarter and not harder in your business. So really helping them connect the marketing and the sales function in the organization to help them grow so that it is systematized. There is a process for lead generation and moving those people through the marketing and sales funnel to get to 6, 7, and even 8-figure growth.
Wow, that was a mouthful. And I have
Mhm.
so many questions. I love that you spoke about strategy and systems because by now you probably know that that is my love and my passion. I love
Mhm.
talking about the importance of having a strategy and a system, which is part of what our conversation I would like it to be about today, as a lot of people during the month of December are planning for 2022, like me and perhaps you and some of your customers and clients. I know that for me, this month is really about reviewing everything that worked, tweaking what didn't work, looking and seeing how can I have a better plan for 2022, because my goal for 2022 is to help as many content creators or online content creator. These are speakers, authors, coaches, podcasters, YouTubers, bloggers, to have and make 2022 their best business year ever. And what that means, as far as numerical financial numbers, to me, is to make sure that we're hitting a mark of at least, if not greater than 200,000 for 2022. And so, as we are looking at this month, I want us to go into a conversation on how we can do that. And before we do that, I do want to ask you a few questions of what you just said, because you said a lot. First of all, you mentioned Forbes. Can you
Mhm.
explain a little bit of that? Because I've heard that in the past, but I'm not sure what that is. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do there and what that entails? Because I believe I have a good friend of mine that has said that, and I've never asked her. But now that you mention it, can you please go ahead and tell us a little bit about that? Because A, we want to be able to follow you, and B, there may be other people like you and me that are speakers that may be interested in looking at that.
Thank you. Yes, Evie. So through Forbes, so Forbes is the business magazine, right? Forbes.com. So a couple of different ways that I collaborate. So I'm a big collaborator. I love strategic alliances and partnerships, and I love leverage. And so one of the ways that I leverage my business and my impact is through partnering with amazing organizations where there's complementary fit and where there's a need. So with Forbes, I became part of the Forbes Coaches Council, and that's one of the platforms that I use to get my content and my voice out into the greater business community through articles, writing articles, and collaborating on thought leadership pieces with other Forbes Coaches Council members to really spread the word and provide actionable insights and tips and strategies and tactics on various business topics. So you can read those for free on the Forbes website, also on my website. So that's one way I collaborate with Forbes through the council. And there's also a wonderful opportunity there to collaborate on best practices and find ways of working together. Through that relationship, I was approached to become a coach. And so what that then means is those people who are looking for business coaches, a lot of the times they go to Forbes directly and say, hey, I need a business coach. And so Forbes partners with some of the best coaches around to say, hey, will you be our fulfillment arm for coaching? So that's how I then became a Forbes coach, as well as being on the council and providing thought leadership. So that's just one example, if I may, Evie, just like parlay this into what other people can do in terms of really getting visibility and then leveraging that visibility to go deeper. So visibility, as you know, Evie, it's not enough. Visibility is step one. You need the presence, and you need the presence not just you going live once in a while on your own Facebook channel where you've got 100 people or so, or or more, but are those really your ideal clients? Really, it's about leverage and how can you align yourself with like-minded people, organizations, associations where you're better together, you're stronger together, you can make more of an impact together. And that way you can scale your business beyond yourself through these strategic alliances and partnerships, which ultimately create leads, create opportunities, create ways of creating more projects together, and avenues to get your message out there in a platform that reaches millions. That's really what it's about.
That is awesome. And that's how you and I met. And I love everything that you're saying. Everything is resonating in my ears and it feels so awesome. And you know, one of the things that I greatly appreciate about you is that you're very giving. The few times that I've had a chance to interact with you, I notice and I feel your presence as a giver. And I love that and I appreciate that in you and about you. And that's why I invited you here today, because I wanted to start this month, which is kind of prepping for 2022. I wanted to start it powerful. And you've already given us so many pearls of wisdom. You've given us so much that I just want to say thank you for sharing, because that is what helps us shine greater. And talking about shining greater, you mentioned the organization that you and I met through, and that is the Women's Speakers Association. And one of the things that I'm personally thankful for is the fact that we get to network. And it was through that organization that I met you, and it was through that organization that I asked you to please come and join me today so that I could introduce you to the people in my world, because I just thought, like I said already, that you are a giving person inside that organization. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the success stories that you may recall of past members who are part of the Women's Speakers Association?
Absolutely. So Women's Speakers Association, founded by Gail Watson, an incredible woman who's also very giving and, has done an incredible job to create a global organization, membership organization, specifically for women with a message, speakers, authors, bloggers, anybody who is using their message to personally brand and make more of an impact. And so through that organization, she's created a number of different ways that members can step into an experience. So membership is step one. Become a member, join a community, and connect with like-minded women. And through those connections, and this is those global networking, virtual networking events, Evie, that you've been talking about, our global business connectors are leading those events. And so through those events, you meet people and you can ask for support. So the most powerful thing that I've seen come out of, for example, that particular experience within the network is we've got women who are wanting more visibility for their message, for their voice, and they are able to come into these events and to ask for that. So women are getting on stages, they're getting podcast interviews. They are, one of our members just landed a TEDx talk that she's been wanting and manifesting for the past 5 years. Through having your professional speaker profile in the #1 database in the network for meeting planners and event planners looking for speakers, we've had members within the first 90 days. I have a client actually who within the first 90 days of being in the network, working with her on her message, her getting clarity on that, super clear on what she offers and what she speaks about, putting up her speaker profile, optimizing the profile to really be seen as an expert. Not enough for visibility, you need to be seen as that expert. She landed about $25,000 in paid speaking opportunities within the first 90 days of really making an effort and doing the work to optimize her profile. So getting speaking gigs, getting paid for that, Being part of a best-selling book, that is another incredible success story that a lot of women have. I think Gail has published over 120 best-selling authors through the organization just in the last 5 years, I would say. And that's through being part of a collaborative book. And that's being, again, don't try to do it alone. Sometimes those books in us take years to, right?
Absolutely. Oh my goodness, that is so true. And what I want to go ahead and dive into is because I know that you, like me, are strategic growth. You call yourself a coach. Is that what a coach?
It's interesting. I'm a strategist by
Yeah.
heart, right? Like you, right? But I'm also a coach and a consultant. So
Yes.
I do a little bit of everything in the sense that the way that I work is strategic. I do coaching, I do consulting. But yeah.
Awesome. And so I wanted to get a few tips. What this particular month, going into January, we're talking about planning content
Mhm.
because you probably would agree with me that creating content that converts is so important, whether it be for social media, for your sales pages, for your emails. And so I wanted to go ahead and share with people who are watching the replay, who will watch later, people who may join us here, a little bit about both of our advice and maybe something that we've learned in terms of what they should be doing. Because one of the things I know in the past, what I used to do is share content as content would pop into my brain. And now, being more strategic, I plan ahead. And sometimes I tell clients to begin with little steps, perhaps planning 1 month in advance,
Mhm.
little by little. Then I jump them into what I like, which is 90-day planning. And so I want to get a little bit of input from you, where you, with your experience, you can share how you plan your content in advance. What do you use, and what are some recommendations so that some of our audience can really leverage this particular training? Because this is like an interview training. I always like to say, everywhere that you can train and meet people and do more than one thing, then you're one up. And so what I want people to get out is at least 3 ideas where this month they could be planning so that 2022 is their best business year ever. So, can you talk to us a little bit about what you've done and what you teach some of your clients? And you deal with CEOs. That's extremely important to plan in advance. So, can you share a little bit of that?
Absolutely. So I'm also a big fan of planning in those 90-day sprints, Evie. And so the biggest thing that I learned over the years is your biggest competitive advantage is relevance. So what I mean by that is 2 things. One is really understanding who your customers are and what's relevant to them in this season, in this month, in this quarter, so that you can mirror and match your content with what's on their minds, with what's in their hearts, with what keeps them up at night, and with what's going on with them right now. And that's why it's super important to target your buyer. You have to be able to know your buyer profile so well that you understand the season that they're in their business or in their life, if you work business to consumer or business to business. And so, for example, if you work in the financial services arena, you know that, and if you target consumers, you know that consumers are going to be doing tax planning at a certain time of the year. So that's what I mean by really understanding. If you take a look at the next 90 days and you take a look at your buyer, what is important to them? What are the pain points? What are the challenges that they are having? And therefore, that are mapped back to your solution. And then, therefore, what content can you give them that is going to be seen by them and is going to be relevant to them in this space and time right now. So that's one piece of relevance. The other piece of relevance is really understanding the buyer's pyramid. Each piece of content needs to be purposeful. It's not just about thinking of something that you like or that you think is relevant and just pushing it out there. There is a system. There is a system.
Can I ask
yes.
you what you mean by the buyer's pyramid? Because I'm always talking about the buyer's journey. Is that the same thing as the buyer's journey? But
I don't know.
Pyramid?
I don't think so. So let me
tell
explain.
Me about the buyer's pyramid.
Yeah. So the buyer's pyramid is it's the buyer, it's essentially buyer psychology, how people buy, how people are making decisions as a consumer to buy. Every consumer goes through a psychological decision-making process from not buying something to buying something. And that's called the buyer's pyramid. So the buyer's pyramid, just think of an actual pyramid, right? So the top of the pyramid is 3%. 3% of your buyers are ready to buy right now. Sometimes 1 to 3% are ready to buy right now. That means when you're pushing out content, and I see this a lot with people on social, sign up for my thing, join my workshop, having, flash sale, buy now. Just know that it's great to promote, and I'm a proponent of the rule of thirds on social media, where 30% should be promotion for sure. But just know that that promotion that you're putting out there is only going to be relevant to 3% of the people who even see the content. And we know with the algorithms that hardly anyone's seeing our content these days. Mm-hmm. So that's 3%. So what about the 97%? We have to market to them too. That's the whole objective of marketing is, and I'm a big fan of market-based, education-based marketing. So if 3% are open to buying now, the next rung on the pyramid is 7%. Those people are open to it. They're not yet ready, but they're kind of like thinking about it, right? And then you've got 90% of people who are either not thinking about it, they don't even know that they need it, they don't think they're interested, or they know they're not interested. And the opportunity in your marketing is to make sure that you understand very clearly your content and how it maps to each stage of that decision-making process, so that you know you're covering all your bases, because your marketing should move the consumer up the buyer's pyramid to get to that place where they're ready to buy. But they may not be ready to buy now. But if you are very strategic with your content and you are putting out content that is education-based, that is answering questions, that is illuminating opportunities, that is creating interest, that is eliciting desire, then you will move them up that pyramid. That's where you get from your visibility to conversion.
I love that. I had never heard it in that way, the way you said it. And I loved it. I was typing notes there so that there are notes in every page that I'm streaming to. We had a problem with LinkedIn, but I'm going to be sure to post this once we finish. And I love the way you said it. It is kind of similar to the buyer's journey, which I generally introduce to people as this idea of the know, like, and trust. And I always do the analogy of, we just met, and let's say we were out on a date and we just met. I don't absolutely go and say to you, would you please marry me? Well, no, because we just met. I might not. I mean, some people, and it's interesting, I love the numbers. You said about 3%. So if you have been out dating, you know that about 3% of the people are out dating and they're wanting to get married right away. And what was the next one? I think you said 7% was the next one.
Yeah, 7% are open to it, and 90% either don't want it, don't think they need it, or just not even thinking about it.
And I love that because it relates to everything. Yes, we're in business, and yes, we may think or feel that we need something, but there are many of us that are not even aware of that. So that's why, and I love that we're in sync, and I'm definitely going to look for that. The buyer's pyramid, did you call it? The buyer's pyramid?
Yeah.
because it's so important for 2022. And that is a hard lesson for me, I'll tell you, because I always say I'm a big promoter. I love promoting other people. I love promotion. And the reason why I love promoting is because I've been doing this for a while. So I'm more of the old fashioned way, thinking of commercial and advertising. And I'll tell you, for me, it's been challenging. It started about maybe 12 years ago when I started being a speaker for Constant Contact, the email marketing tool. And they were like, Evie, you have to educate. And so that idea of education-based marketing is so important. And so many times because we have our own needs, either because, we haven't met our financial goal for the month or for the year, we start rushing. And if you think about it, for those of you that are watching, and by the way, if you're watching, thank you, stick with us. We have some gifts that we're giving away. And also, please post your questions, because that's why we're here. We're here to answer your questions. So I want you to imagine that you just are in the marketplace trying to date. And I go and I meet you and I said, would you please marry me? Would you think I'm a little nutty because I just met you? Probably. So similarly, when we just meet someone, she just said it, 90% may not be even thinking. And we're talking about thinking. 90% may not even be aware that they have a need or a problem that needs to be solved. So as we are planning our 2022 content, we must begin with the end in mind, which I always say, begin with results in mind. And what that means is, what do you want the result of this interaction to be? Do you want to educate? Because I think that the beginning, and believe me, I'm telling you this, and it's been a struggle of myself, I've had this as a struggle, is to first educate. The person may not be aware that they have a problem. So that education-based marketing is so essential. By the way, that's one of the reasons why I do this show, because I want people to learn. It's a free show where I don't only interview, but I do this, where we're sharing content so that we can help empower people to transform their mind first and then transform their business. So I love everything you're saying. It's just like resonating like a beautiful Christmas carol in my head.
I love that. I love that. It's so true. Market data is way more powerful than product data. And this is where a lot of business owners go wrong. They talk about product data, which is basically they talk about themselves a lot. And, that old saying, what's in it for me, right? The audience wants to know what's in it for me. And so that's where market data comes into play, where you can really educate. And, Evie, the other amazing thing about market-based, education-based marketing is that if you want to stand out from the noise, this is the way to do it. Because let's be honest, I think there was a study in 1992 to 1993, it was a long time ago, people were getting about 3,000 messages a day in advertising. And now, do you know what that number is?
I do not. What is it?
It's 30,000. Wow. So I hear all the time, how do I stand out among the noise? I'm sure you hear it too. There's so much noise out there. How do I differentiate? How am I seen as different? Well, start talking about market data. What that does is that positions you as an expert. That positions you as a leader in not just your product, your offering, but in your industry. People want to work with experts. And
that is so true.
That's one of the fastest ways to do that.
You know what I say? I tell people, I love that song that says unforgettable. So when we are doing our, whether it be social media, email, that's one of the questions that, and it can be challenging. I'll tell you, it's challenging for me. How can I put out something that's unforgettable, that's memorable, that people are going to remember? Mm-hmm. And that is why content planning is so important. And, I want to go ahead and ask some very specific questions. Now, when we talk about content planning, like one of the ways that I do it. So I practice what I believe Rich Efron was one of the first to start it. And then one of my friends from the National Speakers Association, Michelle Villalobos, really got me to thinking about the Ascension Model, which it's somewhat like the pyramid perhaps, or what we traditionally know as the funnel, but it's more what I think it's more understanding and aligning what you want to see happen, the results, beginning with that results in mind, and going up the ladder or steps and looking at where are they, always thinking about that psychology of buying. Where are they in the buyer's journey, and how or what content do I need to share to get them from I'm not aware, I'm a zombie, I don't know I have this problem, to the next. And when we talk about online content and selling online solutions like a membership, a course, a webinar, a challenge, a summit, a book, it's so important that we understand that there is that time that we must take to look at that pyramid, as you call it. I call it the buyer's journey, and aligning what we want to share, teach, or even perhaps sell with where they are in that buyer's journey. And I just think that we seem to forget that because maybe it's the end of the month, the end of the year, and we're thinking I need to sell something, and so we may get a little desperate, we may not want to share so much. But I always look at people that I admire that are 7-figure earners and how much content they put out there for free. And then I say, wow, if they're putting all that content for free, that to me tells me I need to do the same thing, because they know what they're doing. They've been around for a while. So for those of you that are watching and you're thinking about 2022, here are a few very specific things, and then I want to have you chime in. Think about 2022. What do you have as far as products, services, and solutions that you're offering? Like, for example, for me, I have this content creators camp where I help online content creators, speakers, and authors who are creating content, whether it's a blog, a YouTube, a podcast, maybe they have a course, to really map out what they're putting out there in advance of them launching whatever it is that they're launching. Similarly, I do a challenge, which is a 7-day challenge, because I believe that it takes 7 touches. We've heard that, right? That it takes about 7 touches to really start turning that mindset from I don't know you, I don't like you, to I know you, I like you, I love you. So I always like to focus my challenges on 7 days. So what I do, I start thinking about what do I have? And I look at 90-day increments, because I like to work like that. I look at what is my monetary financial income goal that I have for the year, then the 3 months. And then I start looking, what content do I need to start creating to really get people to start thinking about this? And the people may be in the, I don't know, I have a problem, I don't know about this, I never heard of it, to I thought I had a problem, to geez, I've had this problem and I need help with. So when you start thinking about your 2022 content, begin with the end in mind. Begin perhaps with your goals and with your products. What is it that you have? What is it? How is it that you can help them? And then start thinking about what content you need to create. So, like, for example, for me, I've been doing the 12 days of Christmas. And this video today is part of the 12 days of Christmas, where my goal, my intention is to go on a Facebook Live or a live streaming video and share some content to really get people thinking about planning for 2022, right? So similarly, those of you that are watching, what is it that you can put out there? What information, what knowledge, what value do you have that you can put out there? And where can you put it? And how do you want to disseminate this content? Is it through audio? And maybe you need to think about podcasting. Is it through video? Are you better live video or pre-recorded video? And then what is the actual content? What is it that the topic, the title, what are you concentrating on? Those are the type of things that I really want to encourage you to begin thinking as you're planning your 2022. What do you think about that?
I love that. I love that so much. I love what you talk about, start with the end in mind, because you can't target something, if you don't know what you're aiming at, you have no idea how you're going to get there. A lot of people, like I like to say, are throwing spaghetti at the wall when it comes to marketing and just seeing what sticks. So we know that there's a marketing funnel, right? The AIDA funnel is the most basic, right? Attraction, interest, desire, action. There's different words people use. You could say visibility instead of attraction, what have you, but really that's at the very basic level. That's what you're trying to map. So you want to start with the end in mind. What ultimate action are you wanting them to take with you, right? Is it a course that you're selling? Is it a coaching program? Is it, buying a product of some sort? What is the thing that you ultimately want them to buy? And from there, then you go to that, you back it up, right? It's the work back plan. So then what do you need to do? What is the content and what is the vehicle for delivering that content to create desire? And you back it up even more. What are you doing for content and what delivery mechanism to create interest? And then back it up one more step, which is what Evie was talking about with visibility. What are the platforms that you're using and what is the content to create the visibility or the attraction? Now, the key with the attraction piece is it's got to be compelling. That's the first step, is it has to be a compelling offer for them to step into. And so what does that mean? That means that people are motivated to either solve, a pain that they have or a problem that they have, or fulfill an aspiration. But problems and pain points are the thing that motivate people the most. So what is that problem, pain point that you are calling out with your content, that you're speaking about with your content, that is going to attract attention? It's got to be an offer that is juicy, that appeals to the, 90% of the people, but also attracts the people who are ready to buy now. And then what is how are you getting them into your funnel? 80% of all sales occur between the 5th and the 12th touch point. So this is where we get into a drip campaign or a series of touch points that you map out so that you are actually leading the prospect with breadcrumbs, if you will, into taking action, which is that final conversion piece at the bottom of the funnel, if you will. So that's where I would start. Is definitely, I love the idea of, what are you selling? And that needs to be vetted against, is that, because again, it's not about you, it's about them. So what is that pain point that they have right now? And what is your offer, or how can you adjust your offer or refine your offer so that it's more relevant for them right now in the next 90 days? That's the key, is that we constantly have to be adjusting for relevance. That's how you're going to really stand out and make the most impact with getting people into the funnel.
Absolutely. And wow, this has been like a review of so many things with me. I've never written so many notes in the chat for people like I have with you. And that's why I'll tell you, I love interviewing like-minded people like you. I love interviewing marketers like myself because we can really get juicy stuff, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned juicy, and I always tell people, when you begin, I love chocolate kisses. So I tell people, think about it like a little chocolate kiss. Put little bit of chocolate kisses, because most people love those chocolate kisses. The more you give, the more they're going to want, but they're little bites, little bites, little bites, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I always like to tell people, begin with that. And a lot of people do like chocolate kisses, but not everybody may buy it, right? And so that when you said the juicy offer that appeals to the 90%, I thought about that. And then remembering, I put the quote here that you said 80% of sales occur between the fifth and the seventh touch, which is interesting because many times people get this illusion. They're like, I've already done 15 Facebook Lives and I'm not getting anyone buying. Or I've already done 5 newsletters, emails, newsletter, what have you. And the thing is, we have to persist. I always like to tell people practice develops confidence, persist with perfect practice, because you have to persist and do it like it's a practicing. You're practicing, like I tell sometimes people, I'm a practicing email marketer because I'm practicing to get better and better. And one of my sayings is every day, in every way, I am better and better. And I always tell people, take that and use it and remind yourself that you go back when you write an email, you go back after you do a launch and look at what's working, what's not working, what do I need to tweak, how can I get better, what did I learn, so that the next time is better and better. And so, is there anything else that you want to cover? Because I'm super excited because we have, I believe anyway, set a good base of content here so that people can really hopefully be inspired, perhaps motivated to begin planning and not just leave it for a last minute kind of thought, but rather if you don't have a lot of clients at this time, or if you don't have a lot that you need to do for your business, this is the perfect time for you to say, and take it in little chunks. Maybe you're not ready for the 90 days. Take it in a month. What can you plan for January? How can you align your product, services, solutions? I love saying the word solution because, like you were saying, we are looking at what is the problem, the pain point that keeps our ideal clients awake at night. So that's why I like saying, what is the solution, or one of the solutions that you have that may be able to help them to overcome that pain, that problem. So I love that. Anything else you want to say? Because I just have a few final thoughts, but I want to get your final thoughts before we wrap up.
Thank you, Evie. I will say that keep in mind that business growth is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Things take time. So if you are looking to engage with new prospects, you're looking at a process. You're building a relationship, right? So you're not going from meeting them to buy my stuff, hello to buy my stuff. No, you're dating them, you're getting engaged, and then maybe you get married. But that process, I'd like to just reframe that. Yes, in some cases, it can take one conversation. And in some cases, it can take 2 years. I've had people that I met from a speaking gig that I did, or at a networking event that I did 2 years prior. But because they were in my world, on my list, in my LinkedIn, on my social, and I kept educating, all of a sudden, 2 years later, they come out of the woodwork when they have a problem that they believe you can solve. So don't give up, and reset your expectations, because it's a long game. It's a long game. And if you are really looking for kind of, what do I do this month to close business, then that's different. That's a sales. Then you need to go into sales mode. Content is a longer game. But if you need sales this month, I actually have a blog on my website about maximizing fourth quarter spending. Then you're talking about sales. But if we're talking about content, that is, planning it out, like Evie's saying, taking the longer approach and really taking a more strategic, methodical approach to doing it purposefully, you will reap the results. It's just, you'll be so surprised if you keep putting in the time.
Absolutely. And that's why it takes patience. And so, by the way, I want to go ahead and let people know if you have any questions, thoughts about this topic or anything that we've covered today, please feel free to email me at evie@bizniversity. If you have any questions about anything that we covered or perhaps that we didn't cover and you want to ask, please make sure to email me. I want to go ahead and also let people know that, as I said, we do have a wonderful giveaway. This giveaway is for our 12 days of Christmas. And what we are doing is we're giving away a free membership to our content creators community. Our content creators community is a community online, which is housed inside of Facebook as a Facebook private group, where in 2022, you, as an online content creator, whether you're a speaker, an author, a coach, a blogger, a podcaster, a YouTuber, can go and share and ask for feedback and get feedback from people like me, from people like my distinguished guest here today, who we've all been enjoying her pearls of wisdom, as I call them, and where you can go and post questions, post examples. And so if you want to win a free membership, and this membership for the year 2022 is valued at 2022, meaning that is the actual retail cost and value of that investment. And by going to the link below, which is a bit.ly that I created, bit.ly free CCC 12321, which stands for today, which is 12321, you're going to get your opportunity to win a free 12-month membership to our content creators community. This will be our community where all of our challenges, our retreats, our camps, people are going to be joining throughout of the year 2022, and you will continue meeting people who have different expertise that you can ask for feedback, you can brainstorm. And so make sure that you go to bit.ly free CCC 12321, and I'll put it inside here somewhere, inside this comments area, so that you have an opportunity. And we're going to do the drawing on the December 11th, which is Saturday, December 11th, which is the first day of our content creators camp. We're going to be announcing who is the winner of the 12-month membership to our content creators community, which is a community so that you can feel empowered. Because I often hear, which, you know, it's interesting, I hear of even speakers and even authors that I've had as clients that sometimes say, well, I don't know what to post on social media, or I don't know how to write sales content. And so that is what this community is for. I'm going to be going there live on a regular basis, bringing guests like my distinguished guest today, so that we can empower you with tools so that you can feel more confident creating more content and staying in for the long run. And I always say you should have a short-term strategy, which maybe, like Michela said, if you have to do sales this month, maybe you need a short-term strategy, and then a long-term strategy. The long-term strategy is your content creation that you're creating to continue attracting people and building that sales funnel. And that's what this content creators community is. Also, I want to go ahead and, unless you have any questions, I want to go ahead and post here so that people know that they can go if they're interested in finding out more about our upcoming event. We have the Content Creators Camp, which this is an event that I do twice a year, at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year, with the same idea of helping you begin to plan your content for the new year. So we have one coming up. It's a 3-day event happening starting on December the 11th. And then we'll go December the 11th, December the 14th, and then we end up on Friday, December the 17th. And I did it like that this time instead of 3 consecutive days, because I know people need time and they want to be able to go to the group and they want to be able to email me, to ask me questions. And so I spread it out to almost a week so that people can work on their stuff slowly and don't feel rushed in a 3-day retreat like I usually do. So anything else you want to chime in with before we say goodbye?
I'm just really excited to have had the opportunity, to share today. And, Evie is doing some amazing things out there to really support the community. And I just love Evie, what you're up to and how you're giving and sharing and, bringing all your expertise to support these folks to really get visible and like you said, to build their longer term strategy, to fill their sales funnel so that they can make an impact with their knowledge, with their expertise in the world. So, it's exciting times, and surrounding ourselves with like-minded people and getting the support is super important, especially nowadays where there's a lot of isolation and working from home and all that kind of stuff. So plugging into community is really, really important, and finding that like-minded community and the support, whether it's through mentorship or coaching or group work, etc., is super important. So don't go at it alone would be my final advice. Nobody goes to the podium alone. It's all about teamwork. It's all about doing things together and doing them better together. So thank you for having me today. And I look forward to, being part of the wider conversation in the community and seeing you at another one of our Women Speakers Association events.
Absolutely. And would it be okay if I invite you to come back about March time so that you can actually be a guest in our content creators community?
That would be fun. Yeah, that's great.
Awesome.
Thank
And
you.
I'm going to continue checking out your content because I did go to your website. I like what I saw, and I'll continue sharing. And let's keep the connection open. And I like to call it, let's continue synergizing.
I love that.
I really am grateful to you. You are just a wealth of knowledge. I love this. This was like a marketing review for me, and I loved it. I love the energy that you speak and that you share. And I'm looking forward to making 2022 our best business year ever. And I'm looking forward to you and I looking at how we create that greater synergy, because I know there is a lot of synergy between you and I. So I'm looking forward to that.
Me as well. Excellent.
So thank you very much. And if anyone has any questions, as I said, please make sure that you email me and I will answer the questions that you may have. We look forward to seeing you on December 11 at the Content Creators Camp. And I just want to say once again, thank you all for watching. Thank you for staying till the end. And as always, if you have any topics or guest speakers that you would like to suggest, I would love to hear from you. And I'd love to hear who you would like to see, who you would like to hear from. And I would like to be able to reach out to them and invite them. So for now, I want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for being my guest. I really appreciate you. And have an excellent weekend, everyone. Until we meet again in our Bizniversity LiveBizTV show, this is Evie Diaz, your strategic growth speaker here at Bizniversity.com, helping you to attract, capture, and retain clients online by leveraging the power of content with marketing automation. Thank you.